Well, hello. Thank you for joining us. I am joined today by my good friend Sam Skirrow. Sam, it's good to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, good man. How are you?
Yeah, very, very well, thank you. So Sam has come to chat to us today, kind of carrying on this theme of different revenue streams and pathways of being a working musician. And Sam is a session musician of the highest order, and he's going to kind of chat to us today a little bit about, I guess, what a day in the life looks like, what touring commitments are like, studio sessions, and kind of give us a snapshot of that aspect of being a working musician, which I know is something that a lot of people aspire to.
Oh, yeah.
So Sam, give us a little bit of your background first to kind of position yourself, and so we can see where you're coming at this from.
Yeah, man. So predominantly a bassist, 33 years old now, but I've been self-employed as a musician for 9 years, something like that. Hasn't always been the easiest ride. In fact, it's probably never an easy ride, to be honest. If we were to look at it as a percentage of like easy times versus hard times, I don't even think I'd want to see those figures, to be honest. But yeah, so I kind of grew up playing bass in church, like got involved in the gospel scene. My influences were a lot of soul artists, a lot of like R&B artists like that. Play a 5-string bass, which is kind of like leans more towards that genre. So yeah, that's where it started for me. You know, many years later, I'm now touring predominantly with Clean Bandit, and we just kind of tour the world like 7 or 8 months a year.
Yeah.
Other artists I work with, there's a guy called Rally Ritchie. He's amazing. He's a bit more of an underground artist, but he's so creative. It's not like your chart topping pop. It's,
There's some musicality to it. It gives you a chance to get your teeth into something.
Yeah, exactly. If you like music, you'll like it.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe. But yeah, and you know, do various studio sessions for people. I was working with Take That at the end of that last year. Yeah, just various records really, and recently just started getting into songwriting as opposed to just like laying down bass on tracks. Actually getting involved in the writing process, which is just way more fun. Like it really exercises the creative part of my brain as well.
Yeah, really.
So again, just a different discipline really. It's not regurgitating information. It's kind of creating it. So
yeah, absolutely. So I guess you touched on there that as a session player, a huge percentage of your day-to-day work in life is spent touring. What does that look like in terms of an overview? Kind of, we'll perhaps have a day in the life of a touring session player in a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's with the exception of probably the military.
Yeah.
I can't think of another career perhaps where you are away for kind of months at a time, literally kind of living on the road. Perhaps that I'm sure there are one or two, but it's quite a unique job, isn't it? And with that must become there must come some incredible challenges, but also some incredible benefits. So what does that look like?
So I mean, my recent experience in the last like 3 years has mostly been focused on like festival season, rather than like being on the road on like a world tour or something like that. It's been more kind of, we start putting a show together in March, and then festivals begin from April and go through till September.
Sure.
So my touring schedule tends to be, Thursday till say Monday, every week for about 7 months. And then a few days at home, get your washing together, see some people, do some family stuff, and then back at it again. So there's highs and lows, man. Like putting a show together is a lot of fun. But also very long days, 14 hours a day, for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, just focusing on, really honing in on the nitty gritty of tunes and how an audience is how it translates to an audience. Really, really fun though. Like that's the creative part of touring. Then the rest of it is kind of a little bit like Groundhog Day. It's like get to an airport at a certain time, travel around a bit, and then get dropped off and XYZ, and staying in festival sites and hotels and fields and stuff like that. And I'm always in two minds about it. I don't take it for granted. I love it. I really, really love it. Like, we get to see some really good places, um, get to have some really great experiences. But then at the same time, there's a real kind of downside to it, of it being quite lonely, and taking you away from your loved ones.
Yeah.
Um, and also, like, after a while, it just kind of makes you question what you're really doing, because you're kind of doing the same thing day in, day out.
Yeah.
Um, and quite often as well, one of the things that's a little bit frustrating is when you go to a nice place, um, but you're just staying in an airport hotel,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're getting dropped off. You get maybe a couple of hours to kit.
Yeah.
You go to the festival, you do the gig, and then you go somewhere else. It's like, it almost feels like,
You've been there, but not been there. I know that feeling well.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me what countries I've been to, there's so many, but I wouldn't really say I've been to any of them either at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So there's two sides to it. Like, it's really fun. It's really, really great. It's a really uplifting experience. But then you've really got to keep on top of, like, your mental game as well, because it can be a massive strain on that. Spending 24 hours a day with the same people in confined space is like, just takes its toll sometimes. So you just have to keep a bit of a mental check, otherwise it just creeps up on you.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're just having a bit of a meltdown at the end of touring season, because you've not known what's been going on, really.
It's been and gone. Yeah. No.
Yeah, so there's two sides to it, and I think I've just been very, like, in recent years, very aware of the more, like, sinister side of it, and the more difficult side of it, as in, like, keeping on top of your mental health, and making sure that you're still progressing yourself as a business and as a musician, rather than just kind of sitting and getting complacent.
And living in
Um,
the moment too much. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and I had a friend who got on his first tour recently, a few months ago. It was his first tour, and he phoned me up about it, and he was making good money, and it's the first time that he's done all of that kind of stuff. And I said, listen, like, my advice to you, as someone that's been doing this for years, and this is your first time doing it, like, enjoy yourself for your first one. Like, it was like a 4-week tour. I think he had 30 days or something. I was like, enjoy yourself for your first one. Like, have a blowout. Don't worry about the money. Like, just be a fool with it, basically.
Live for
But
it.
he's like, don't allow it. I said to him, don't allow it to continue after that. It's like, when you get more tours, like, just wise up, because everyone wants to have fun
Yeah.
and do the fun stuff and go out and drink and this, that, and the other, and put on Instagram everything that's going on. And, like, it's really, like, you should be allowed to kind of indulge yourself in that.
Yeah.
But I said to him, I was like, just once you've done that, then just get sensible. Start putting your money aside. Think about your taxes. Think about this and the other, and think about how you're going to progress on to the next job and stuff. And I felt like a bit of a boring dad talking to him about it, but at the same time, I think that's solid advice.
It's good advice, and again, that's the purpose, I guess, of doing these webinars, to give people an insight into it. Not necessarily people that are starting out, maybe people that are in the early stages, kind of the embryonic stage of their session music career.
Well, someone said to me, actually, I remember this from years ago, when they got their first job. It wasn't even a music job. They said to me when I got my first job, which was at Pizza Hut, when I was like 18, they're like, your first paycheck, just blow it all on whatever you want, like buy yourself a nice watch or like anything you want, because you will never get your first paycheck ever again.
Yeah.
So this will be the only chance you can do it. And I think I kind of have that advice for people that get on their first tours. It's like, just blow it, man. Like, do what you want, be an idiot, and then just wise up for the next one, because you'll never have your first tour again.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good counsel. I like it. Listen, going back a few minutes, you mentioned kind of putting a show together and how much fun that was.
Yeah.
And perhaps this is my naivety. To what degree do you have creative input in that process? Because there is a conception on some sides that, as a session player, particularly when you're playing originals thing, you kind of, here's the album, we're going to recreate that live. Is it kind of literally, there's either a chart or there's a recording, you've got to be able to deliver that? Or is there some license to do that? And to what degree does that vary from project to project?
Well, yeah, it is different for every project. For example, if it's a brand new artist that no one's ever heard any of their songs, there's no point in putting like new arrangements on everything.
Yeah.
Because your audience won't have heard like
Yeah.
the original arrangements, let alone like some fancy
Yeah.
like gospel chops, big outro with horns and all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely.
but if you're a more established band, like Clean Bandit, for example, like we change up their songs and the way they sound and do different arrangements or different remixes of them because people know them, they've heard them on the radio, and they're
Yeah.
coming for a different sort of experience. So it's a different brief really for that band. But my thinking for any rehearsal or any sort of like putting a show together is to come with ideas,
Yeah.
because generally speaking, people want ideas. Like you're in a room full of creative people, so like sometimes the brief is boring, like let's just play this to the track exactly as it is, create the exact same sounds, create the exact same blah blah blah, have it exactly 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it is that, but sometimes there is license, or there's time to like get excited about it and be like, oh, should we put an outro on this, or should we change the intro or change up the feel for the second verse or something like that. And if you come with ideas already in your head about it, then generally speaking, they're pretty well received,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So I practice the track exactly as it should be, like inside out and backwards. I learn other people's parts so that I can talk to them about it. Like I'll learn a drum pattern,
Yeah.
keys part. Like I really go to town on what I learn, just so I really know the song. And then on top of that, I'll be like, right, here's an idea for like a feel change in the verse or in the bridge, or like here's an idea for a reprise at the end,
Yeah.
or something like that. And it's never been badly received.
Yeah.
I think there's only been once in my life where it's just been like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And I didn't even feel like it was a personal attack. I was just like,
Yeah.
fair enough. Like it's not my place to bring these things. It's the place of a musical director.
Yeah.
So they have the final word. But still, as a creative, you can bring your ideas, because
Yeah.
that keeps it fun as well. So yeah.
So in terms of kind of, you touched on this again when you were talking about kind of touring collectively. On a typical gig day, so let's say you're doing a festival, kind of late afternoon somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
What does the day look like? You kind of presumably you get up. What time? Talk us through that.
Well, I'm an early riser naturally anyway, so I'll be up at like 8, but everybody else.
Eight's not early.
I'll just get back to my kids, did it? So, but I'll be up at 8 still, whereas everyone else might, you might start seeing people at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. But I
Okay.
can't do that. I don't like wasting my mornings. But there is a lot of hanging around, to be honest. One thing I like about playing festivals or like touring in general is that it makes you realise the basics that you need. So normally, like, this is going to sound really like luxurious and entitled, but like generally speaking, if it's a gig day or a tour or a festival day, like if I can have a shower and a coffee before midday, then I'm just like sick. It's like this, like you'll get off the bus, and like quite often you won't really know where you are. You'll be in a place that looks very similar to the place you were yesterday, but it's slightly different. So you don't know where there's catering, you don't know where, like, what time catering's on, you don't know where the toilets are, where there's a towel for your shower. So it's just like all of those little things. And you're like, if I can get a coffee and a shower and feel clean by midday, then that's a solid day. A lot of hanging around. With Clean Bandit, we're lucky because we've got techs that set up our gear for us. So they'll generally do that, and then halfway through the afternoon, I'll go and check all the gear, because I always feel like it's my responsibility.
Yeah, sure.
There are guys that set it up and they do a really, really good job, but if I don't check it and there's a problem, then realistically it makes me look bad.
Yeah,
and I've had it before where things have just gone wrong, and it's too easy to kind of point the finger of blame at someone and just be like, oh, it's your job. Wrong. Like, really and truly, it's my job.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm fortunate enough to have other people to set it up for me. But then, touring with Rally, for example, we don't have text, so the afternoon's a bit more hands-on, setting up your gear backstage, checking it. Get some lunch, make sure that you're well slept and ready. I always feel like the gig day, like the whole day, is just about prepping for the actual show itself
Yeah.
and getting yourself like in a good mental state and a good physical state for it. Um, and that's like I'm kind of into just like zenning out, really,
Yeah.
making sure that I've just had a nice day. Basically, it's that, like now I'm saying it, I'm just like, how luxurious is my job?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds terrible. It sounds terrible.
But then sometimes it's a bit more grueling, if I'm honest. Like sometimes it will be, get to an airport at 5 in the morning, fly in, have a 2 hour journey in a van to the festival site. Then you've got maybe 2 or 3 hours to get some food, get a coffee, get your gear ready. You do a gig, and then you're off back to the airport to go to another place. So sometimes it can be a bit more grueling and a bit more like,
Yeah.
like back to back
More
flying
intense.
and gigging.
How do you find it from, and you touched on this again, the physical aspect of it, because it's very, very easy when you're on the road, and I know this from my previous life, that when when you're living on cane, it's fairly easy to eat a lot of crap and not look after yourself.
Yeah.
And do you find you have to really discipline yourself to do that?
Yeah, you know what? The best thing to do is get people on side with you. If you get a team of people that are like, no, we're going to work out and we're going to eat good
Yeah.
and we're not going to drink as much, it's like,
Yeah.
that's how you win.
Collective accountability across it.
Yeah, otherwise it's just, you're fighting a losing battle, man. Like there's so many cakes everywhere. There's so much like free alcohol everywhere. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't, man. But to be honest, like speaking from experience, if you've got a long stint, um, then you can't keep it up, man. And you've got to pace yourself. You've got to keep yourself healthy. Otherwise, you're just going to fall apart. And it's horrible, man. You'll get poorly. You'll get sad. Like you'll just fall apart at the seams.
Yeah.
So, like, it is so tempting when you see like a whole platter of cakes and a whole like fridge full of like
I know the
Grey
feeling.
Goose. It's like,
I'm starving. You said
I
that.
know what today is going to be, but like, you just can't, man. You can't. Like, you've got a job to do at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've always thought, I I generally try and avoid drinking on a gig night, like if there's a gig the next day, because I'm just like, if I'm
Yeah.
hanging
Yeah.
and then I start like dropping off at my job,
Yeah.
like it's a downhill slope from there.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that want my job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'd be stupid to lose it because I'm like getting fat and drinking.
Yeah. I guess in many respects, kind of whilst musical ability is and I hasten to add, this has been a common theme throughout filming this entire series. Whilst music ability is undoubtedly essential, character and professionalism is what ultimately. So there are lots of greatly talented musicians out there,
Yeah.
but character and professionalism is what gets you the gigs, isn't it? I think.
Oh, big time, man. Like pop music is not hard to play.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
really like, it's really, really not. I do like, there is a difference between someone that's been playing an instrument for like decades rather than years,
Yeah,
and it's not in the complexity of what they play, it's in the
feel and the
tonality and the maturity of what they play.
it becomes part of them, doesn't it? The instrument becomes.
Yeah, so there is a part of musicality where you're just like, people will be drawn to a mature musician.
Yeah.
But really and truly, like what you play on stage for an hour a day maximum. We have like a 45-minute set, an hour set, and an hour and a half set. So on a bad day, we're playing an hour and a half of music. I say a bad day, you know what I mean? But
I
good day, depends what you like. But then you've still got like 23 odd hours of time where you're just around people.
Yeah.
And if you're a dickhead, then
Yeah,
no one's going to want to be around you. And trust me, like I've been on tours where there's people that they're amazing at their jobs, but they're just awful hangs.
Yeah.
Like, or not even like they don't have banter. Like they're just horrible people.
Yeah.
And you're like, we don't want that on a tour. Like everybody's got to club in and work together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it makes it toxic for everyone. So.
Absolutely. You talked about gear, and I don't want to kind of get into the intricacies of brands and things like that. But obviously, in order to do your job well, gear plays a huge part in that. And to what advice would you give surrounding equipment for? And I'm not on about kind of what your favorite and most prized possession is, your favorite guitar or your favorite keyboard or favorite bass, whatever.
Yeah.
But in terms of gear, are there some kind of overarching principles that you operate to in terms of what gear you'll use?
Um, my first principle would be check your own gear, like
Yeah.
before you take it out on the road, while you're out on the road, all of that kind of stuff. Because again, it just reflects badly on you. If you rock up and your keyboard's broken, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't know it was broken, or it was working before," whatever excuse you have
Yeah.
is not an excuse.
Yeah.
If it's broken, and it's your gear. Um, my other advice for that would be know your gear as well. Um, because quite often you'll just be on the spot in a rehearsal asked to do whatever, like put a reverse delay on your guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, can you do that without having to go on Google and look on the
Yeah.
manual? Or can you make your 808 sound on your synth?
Yeah.
Like, can you pitch modulate it? Like, that was literally something I had in a rehearsal, and if I didn't know those terms, I'd just be like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
So it's important that people know kind of every parameter of the equipment and they can use it to its absolute potential. Is that?
Yeah, and also the other thing is bring the right gear as well for the right gig. So I remember doing a gig where I rocked up with my 5-string, and it's an active bass, and that's a very particular sound. It kind of fits in line with like the R&B sound, and it just wasn't that gig.
Yeah.
And the musical director was like, "Have you got a 4-string, like a P bass?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I do, yeah." He was like, "You need to use that," and I
Right.
didn't want to because I didn't like it at the time. And he wanted me to use a plectrum as well, which I'm just not
Yeah.
plectrum
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
But I did it, and then I heard the recording back. I was like, "He's totally right. Like, it needed that." So you just got to bring the right gear. Sometimes, like your beloved like fretless 6-string bass is not the one for a gig.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, um, but other than that, I think like you are the master of your trade. Do you know what I mean? I've come to rehearsals with a keyboard where no one's ever seen the keyboard before or heard of the synth. It was a new Korg one that they brought out. And it was tiny as well. It was about this big.
Yeah.
Like, I bought it out of the box and the guys laughed at it. And
Yeah.
I was like, "Nah, just you wait," because I'd learnt it and I'd like figured out everything it could do. I was like, "Just you wait, man." And without fail, everyone has said it was like the best sound they've heard from a keyboard on a gig. And I was like, "Yeah, man. Like, as long as you believe in what you're bringing and you know that it's right for the gig, then you're the master of what you're doing. So just bring what you know is right."
No, it's good. It's really, really good stuff. So me and you have known each other for many, many, many years and done bits and bobs. Talking about career path, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given, kind of in terms of crafting your trade as a session player?
The best bit of advice I was ever given was to play it cool. And that is like, because I don't think I naturally play it cool. Like, I'm a bit of a hassler.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If someone says, "Oh yeah, I'll call you about this," like, I'll be calling them in an hour's time. Just be like, "Oh, remember you said you called me?" Blah 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 blah. Like, I used to be like that, and then someone just said to me, "They're like, just be cool, man. Just play it cool." And it's true. Like, people respond to more relaxed people.
Okay.
That's what I've found anyway. Like, if you're a bit more chilled and a bit more kind of like, you just feel a little bit more in control, and I think people are drawn to that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, the best bit of advice I've ever got was to play it cool. The advice I would give would be just to always keep grafting.
Yeah.
Keep grafting and be a good person, because people will remember you for being hardworking, and people will remember you for being like a good person to be around. Like, if you're the person that's coiling up leads at the end of a function gig, like, people will remember that more than the chops you played in the function gig.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just like, just
Yeah.
graft and be a good person. That's all it is. Honest to God, like, your ability as a musician is like your last priority. It's like the 10% of what you bring.
Really?
100%, man. Because, like, if you think about it, there's always someone better than you as a musician. There's always someone worse.
Yeah.
So you, really and truly, you always sit in the middle.
Yeah.
So what you have to bring that makes you stand out is your personality, what you can bring as a person, and how you like help other people as well.
Yeah.
Like, that will make you stand out.
It's a good principle for life, I think, as well, isn't it? Not just as a session player.
I think so. The minute you start thinking you're the best, or you're like God's gift to music, like, your career's over, man. No one even wants to hang out with those people. You know?
Yeah. In terms of getting gigs, then, so we've got somebody that's maybe gone through college. I know obviously Guildford and BIM produce kind of lots of kind of really really talented musicians that are
Yeah.
industry ready. What kind of strategies do you use to get work? So conventionally, you want to go and work for a grad scheme for Microsoft, you'd apply for their grad scheme. That's how it would work. If you want to be a session musician, how do you go about getting work?
Well, first thing I did, because I had a job, I was a teacher, and then I left that job, and I didn't have any contacts, really and truly. So I went through my Facebook list of friends, and everyone and anyone who was like even remotely related to the music industry, I would send them an email, and I just said, I've got no experience and I need some. I've got a blank CV. I was like, can I like come and make you a coffee or like set up your gear for you? Or there was even a couple of cases, it's going to sound mad, but there was a couple of cases where I was like, I'll play the gig, you can get the fee. Like, I don't care. Like right now, what's valuable is for me to get experience because I've got nothing on my CV. And out of that, I just got a few gigs, a couple of function gigs, stint at Panto, and a 4-week stint on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
So, and then out of that, I just kept in touch with people. I get people's numbers, and I keep in touch, and not in like a begging way. I'm just like, hey, how's it going? Like, what you've been up to? Just making friends, basically. And then alongside that, I'd go down to jam nights, which I hate jam nights. I still hate them to this day. But I'd make myself go because it's like a hub of musicians that are either in the same boat as you or like further ahead than you. So it's just a really good place to like hang with them, get their numbers, like buy them a drink. It's just a good hang, and you can play as well. And as long as you don't see it as like an audition or like a surefire way to get a gig, like it is just a good hang, and it's a good chance to play music with people. And I don't know, like those are the things that have worked for me. But I think the most important thing is to get people's numbers and chat to them. It's kind of like dating, man. And just keep in touch and like be a normal person and be friendly. Do you know what I mean?
And how do the doors open? So talk us through one of your pro gigs. How is that kind of doing what you just talked us through there? How has that opened doors for you?
Sorry, say the question again.
You talked about those kind of strategies for keep getting numbers and kind of doing the jam nights and all of the things that you said. But how have doing those things opened doors for you into kind of professional contracts and gigs?
Oh, massively, man. Like just doing that alone has meant that people, like you're on people's minds.
Can you give us an example of where that's led to a gig for us?
Well, the whole way I got the Clean Bandit gig was because I'd met the musical director. I was doing a tour. We were supporting Ellie Goulding. And me and the musical director for Ellie were just getting along all right. Like not even well, just all right. We were just chilling. We were just mates. And we'd known of each other on social media for a little while as well. And ever since that gig, I'd always just send him a message, maybe like every month or two, and just be like, yeah, thinking of you, how's it going? Hope the family's well. Nothing related to work, just like everything cool. And then one day I just sent him a message and he was like, oh, by the way, I've got a gig. Are you interested? And I was like, yeah, it was the Clean Bandit one. And I auditioned for it. And that was that. But I don't think that would have come about if I wasn't in the habit of just texting people and just being like, everything cool, you good? And not even being like, have you got any work for me?
Like network warm.
Yeah, man. And just being genuine with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's probably the biggest example of how it's worked. But I always just keep in touch with people. Like studio work, there's a guy that I work with a lot, and I'm the same. I'll just message him genuinely because I wonder how he is, and I want to know how his family is, and I want to say hi. And he'll just be like, oh, I've got a couple of tracks. Do you want to come down and play on them?
Yeah.
So it just works like that, and you've just got to treat people as friends rather than contacts.
Yeah, sure.
Because in the long run, that'll help you anyway, because you need to have mates in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. To kind of just as the last point, talking about studio work, obviously live work is a huge chunk of being a session player, but equally studio work is a chunk. How do you add value? What does a studio session look like from a from a pro's perspective, and how do you add your value to that? What makes you different to anybody else in the studio?
Yeah, so I think with studio work, first of all, if I'm asked to come and do a studio session, I don't know if everyone does this, but I always ask for the track in advance.
Okay.
Because I want to listen to. I don't want to be put on the spot, because
Yeah.
if I'm put on the spot, I'm not playing my best.
Yeah.
So always ask for the track in advance. And then I think there's certain things that will make you stand out. I say this to all of my students, to be fair. There's two things that will make you stand out as a musician. That is tone and feel.
Okay.
And those are the things you'll be hired for.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, listen to pop tracks and listen to the top 10 of pop tracks. No bassist is like absolutely raging it up.
Yeah.
Like, not since Motown have people been raging up, really and truly. So you don't need to be a raging player. And quite often, like, I'll go in. I do get asked to do a lot of bass fills in studio sessions. I don't know why, but I just do. But quite often, like, if I ever overplay in a studio session, they ask me to do a simpler take anyway, and that's what gets used. So it get like my complicated take will get cut up, so it's less complicated or something. So really and truly, the things that stand out and the things that people want are good tone and good feel. And that will make you stand out against any sort of plug-in or any like fake bass or fake instrument or something like that. And creativity as well. That's the third one for sure, because everyone wants to hear something new.
Yeah.
And I remember I did a little, it wasn't even a session actually, my friend had put on a track. I'm not going to name drop with it, but he'd put on this track in his studio, and I just got on the piano and started playing a couple of chords. And he was ready to throw the track in the bin, and he heard the chords, and like, we're still working on it now. He's like, "Yeah, this is a track, man. It's a hit." So I know people like creativity.
Yeah,
that would be my approach to studio sessions anyway. And come prepared. Again, same as live. Come with ideas. Like, I always come with like thoughts of how I can play it simple and complicated.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, listen, I'm conscious of our time together, but listen, it's really, really good to see you.
Yeah, man, likewise.
Not so long next time, but thank you for taking time out. It's been a brilliant insight. I've really enjoyed it, and I know everybody watching will have done as well. So thank you very much for that.
Mate, thanks for having me.
And then we'll touch base very, very soon. But God bless you, mate. See you soon.
Yeah, man, nice one, dude.
Thanks, Sam.